أصدقائي الطلاب. Welcome to Chemistry Online with Mr. Ahmed Sulaiman. Today we are going to start our course of chemistry, and this is the first chapter, which is talking about introduction to chemistry. It's just introduction to know why chemistry is important and why we need to study this course, chemistry. First, what is meant by chemistry? We study chemistry because anything related to matter around you means we are studying something related to chemistry. Chemistry is the study of composition of matter. Composition of matter. It means any change happens to matter, whether it's liquid, solid, or gas, or even plasma. It means you are changing the composition inside this matter. So chemistry is responsible for studying anything related to matter, and you know what is meant by matter from grade 9 or before. Anything has mass and occupies space means it's matter. We have 5 areas when you want to study chemistry. One area called organic chemistry, second inorganic chemistry, third biochemistry. Bio means related to biology, analytical chemistry related to analysis if you want to analyze something, and physical chemistry. First, organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is chemistry related to carbon. Any compound has carbon, organic chemistry. So chemicals that containing carbon means you are studying organic chemistry, and this is a huge area of chemistry. If you are studying chemicals in general and they don't have this carbon atom, it means it's inorganic chemistry. We'll study all of this afterward. Third part or third area of chemistry called the biochemistry. Anything related to biology or living organisms, okay, and it has reactions or chemicals or like this, it means it's a biochemistry, and this is one of the fields of chemistry as well. The fourth area is called analytical chemistry. It focuses on composition of matter, the composition of matter. If you have matter and it's composed of something, you mean you want to analyze this composition to know what's composed of. It means it's field called analytical chemistry. The last one is called the physical chemistry. From its name, physical chemistry means anything related to physics and chemistry at the same time. Physics, different fields like energy, electromagnetic radiations, and so on. If something related to this and chemistry, it means it's physical chemistry. For example, if you have mechanism of reaction, you want to measure the rate, if it's fast or slow, rate of the reaction. If you want to add energy or remove energy or transferring energy during the reaction, and so on, that means you are making a bridge between physics and chemistry. This field or this area called the physical chemistry. There are 5 areas of studying chemistry. But now we need to know something maybe you heard before, something called pure chemistry and something called applied chemistry. Pure chemistry is the chemistry related to the knowledge of chemicals, information. But applied chemistry is chemistry which is interested in researches and applying this knowledge in a research, in an experiment, to get something, to make applications, and so on. This is applied chemistry. For this reason, we have like organization, famous organization called IUPAC. Maybe you heard before IUPAC. What mean by IUPAC? IUPAC is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Pure and applied knowledge and researches. Okay, this IUPAC is an organization responsible for naming compounds, for studying the researches and found something related to chemistry and so on, everything about chemistry, and it's responsible for pure and applied chemistry. These are two parts of chemistry. We have branch called carbon chemistry, which is organic chemistry. It is a wide one, the wide area. Why? Because it has a lot of compounds, maybe about 10 millions of carbon containing compounds in this area, much more than in organic and other areas. So the huge one of them is carbon chemistry, which sometimes called organic chemistry. Carbon chemistry related to our life more than others. Why? Because it's everything around you, made up of compounds containing carbons. Everything around you, textile, wood, everything you are using in your life composed of carbon containing compounds. Why we study chemistry? Why it's important in our life? Chemistry is useful for three main things: explaining natural world, preparing people for their careers, and producing informed citizens. What's meant by each of them? You will see now. First, explaining the natural world. How come? Look, if you have an apple like this, after cutting it, you see it turns brown when it exposed to air. Why? Chemistry can reply this question or explain as well. If you have an egg and you boil it, the texture changes from runny or liquid into firm form. Why? Chemistry can answer this question. Also, chemistry can answer if the water expand or shrink by boiling, by freezing. Why sugar dissolve in water faster than cold in hot water, faster than cold water? Why yeast used for making bread, and so on? All of these questions and more can be replied by chemistry. For this reason, this is the first importance. The second, preparing for career, preparing people for career. Sometimes some persons have career related to chemistry, like this. Turf managers have important tasks for keeping grass on golf course or soccer fields, or like this, يعني football fields as well, and so on, healthy. How? It's related to their field. They are studying chemistry and they know how can we make them healthy. Also, firefighter use chemicals to put off the fires. They cannot use water, for example, every time. If you have fire of sodium, you can't use water, for example. So he needs to study chemistry to know how can we deal with these fires, different fires, okay, to fight these different fires, and so on. Many careers like this need chemistry. Third, being an informed citizen. It means you need to be a citizen and you want to get benefit from many things, like researches for making something you are using, like plastic, like many things, or research is related to space. It's related to our Earth, Like NASA researches, when they use these researches to improve and develop many things on Earth, and so how can we use plastic to resist scratch, or using monitors, or for making mobiles, screen, televisions, and so on. So you need chemistry for many of these things. Why they called chemistry by this name? Chemistry name came from the word alchemy. Alchemy is the field that the alchemists are working in. So we have people called alchemists. Now, who are alchemists? Alchemists are people who concerned to change something to something else, like change metals to other metals, like lead, which is very cheap, to gold, which is very expensive, and so on. Alchemists can develop the tools, like this tool, for example, tools or equipments like this, to develop them for special technique, for special use. The alchemists are developing this. Also, they design many tools, like beakers, flasks, many tools in chemistry to facilitate the use of chemicals in our lab and discover many things. So they are the people called alchemists. For this reason, they called this field chemistry. It was like this up to a scientist called Lavoisier came. Lavoisier made like revolution in this field. Why? Because he changed the chemistry field from just observation of things into measuring, from observation to measuring things. How? What did he do? Lavoisier designed a balance to measure the mass. Also, he stopped debating about how materials are burning. Before Lavoisier, they couldn't know how the materials burn, but he explained any material need oxygen to burn, as you know, and also he did many things. How can we think about chemistry or even science? By using something called scientific law. What is meant by scientific law? It's like a statement, but concise statement, accurate statement, to summarize something you observe and you test it. If you did an experiment and you observed something, then you tested it and you found something, you can summarize it as a result in the form of something called scientific law. This is the law. Now I want to explain very quickly how can the scientists think. First, they are making an observation about something, or they observe something, a problem, or observe something, and he tried to find out the answer for this problem. This problem in front of you can be solved by, and you have to make some hypotheses, like answers to this question or this problem, like opinions, point of view, okay, but many of them put some hypothesis about this observation or this problem. Maybe one of them is correct, the others are wrong, maybe, we don't know. So we have to make an experiment to make sure it's correct or not, this first hypothesis. It's wrong? No. It's correct? Okay. But if it's wrong, you can repeat it again to make another experiment for another hypothesis and make sure it's correct or not. Then try the third one, and so on. For each hypothesis, you make experiments, not experiment, but experiments many times. You have to repeat them to make sure which of them is correct. After making experiment, you can back to the hypothesis again, as I said, okay, and try another experiment. After experiments, you can find a theory or scientific law. How? If after experiment you found the answer of this question, but you are not sure, or it needs to be modified, but you don't know how can we modify it, you can make like theory. Theory is like the result of the experiment, but I'm not sure about everything in this statement, so we called it theory. It's like point of view, but based on the experiment. Okay, it needs to be modified. Sometimes after experiment you found it's okay, it's a law. Okay, so you can make from experiment some theories and back again to the experiment to make sure it's true or not, or modify it, then make this theory, okay, then go to experiment again, and so on. Or sometimes from the experiment you can move directly to the scientific law. Scientific law means you got the result without any modification. You got the result from experiment and you are sure from this result. At this moment we called it law. It's a law. So you got the scientific law. Sometimes like this, sometimes like this. The scientists are using this method to find out the theories and the laws. This is like introduction, very fast introduction about chapter 1. I hope to understand everything. Thank you, Shabab.